Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to take our chicken and we're going to turn it into a bag. So I have my handle here. I have only two of my wing pieces, and what the material I'm using right here are the dryer mats. You know, when you wash dishes you can put the dry mats on there, and it has foam in between it anyway, all that. So let me move my light so you can see a little better. Has foam in it. I got my two wings, I got a handle, I got a wattle piece, a comb piece, and a beak piece. And this pattern, and two of my bodies, one cut one way, one cut the other, one cut reverse. You'll need two dryer mats, a little piece of red or whatever color you want for your beak and your wattle, your comb and your wattle, and whatever color you want for your beak. I'm gonna throw it in the floor. This pattern is, I don't know who it's from, it's not on the pattern. I'll get it, I think it's Mountain Lily, but I'll check and see. I'll put a link in the description below. Okay. Oh, and I have two pieces of ruffle because I thought that would be cute on my little wing piece. And we're going to need, excuse me, some bias tape. Okay. So, let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is, let's see how I'm going to do this. I don't think I'm going to bias tape all the way around that, but I could try. This is my first time making it, so we're going to learn together how to do it. I'm just going to cut off a piece. It's a little bigger than I need. Okay. Do I want to go all the way around? Yeah, let's do it. So I'm going to open up my 1/2 inch double fold bias tape. I'm going to put my join in the bottom like this, and I'm going to just fold it over that way. And then we'll go around. Making sure that you catch both sides when you sew it. I'll keep going around. I'll show you what I'm doing, I promise. I think I'm going to make a little miter in the top corner here. I don't think you're going to see it because I'm going to put a piece of lace up there, but plans change. You never know. I might not do the ruffle, the lace. These are going to be little pockets on the outside of our bag. These are going to be the cutest thing. I seen this pattern and I was like, oh my god, I gotta make it. Either for collecting eggs, or you know, your little niece and nephew, or I mean, not nephew, but your little niece, to put her little goodies in. And I'm gonna go around here. I think the bias tape is taking a lot of the wing structure away, but that'll be okay. You'll still know what it is. Maybe. It's just going to be a pocket. I could have just done a square for the pocket, but I wanted it to be a wing. Okay. So that's what I got. I'm just going to chop off this extra, give me about an inch overhang, and go over the other piece. Yeah. So that's what I got. Now I'm going to stitch, no, I'm not going to stitch all the way down. I think I'm just going to put my lace across the top, see if I like it or if I don't. What do you think? Do we like it? Do we not like it? That light's kind of messing y'all up a little bit. Let's move it over here a little. Now, there we go. What do you think? I think it's cute. So I'm just going to stitch across the top. I have it on 4 stitch length, and I'm going to baste across the top. Probably going to do a little less than 1/4 of an inch, and that way it's going to make sure I catch both sides of my bias tape. Guess I could have put my ruffle under the bias tape, but I kind of like the way it looks this way. Now, there we go. Okay, so now I'm going to do 1/4 of an inch. I'm just going to do 2 stitches on there. There we go. Nobody can see it because of the ruffle and the bias tape. So that's the back and that's the front. So now I'm just going to stick it on one of our chicken pieces. See how cute that'll be? This is a Dolly Parton dry and matte, dish dry and matte from Dollar General. I'm just going to kind of center it, leaving my 1/4 of an inch at the top and bottom here so that I can sew it together. That looks good. And now I'm going to stitch around and down there. I'm going to leave it like a pocket. So if you want to put a goodie in there, you can. Let me get my ruffle up under there some. It's caught on my foot. There we go. Doing 1/4 of an inch now, and then I'll go back and do 1/8 of an inch, I think, just to make sure it's on there. Now I'm going to do 1/8 of an inch. I like the look sometimes of double stitching. Oh, that's cute. Look how cute. He's going to be cute. Okay, so there's that side. There's our little pocket. Let's get you where you can see a little bit more. What you think? Think it's cute. So now I'm gonna take his beak, and I did the same thing that we did with the chicken pot holder, and I drew the beak piece on. I'm gonna sew all the way around this except for at the bottom. Back stitching at the beginning and end. I'm going to a 2.5. Stay on the line best you can. This little triangle is easy to do. Okay. And then I'm gonna I got the same thing with this comb. It's a different comb. I've got it traced on there. I don't know if you can see that. But I'm gonna do the same thing, leaving the bottom open. I traced on the back of these pieces of fabric. Okay, and the wattle, I've done the same thing, traced it on. This says leave a hole. I think I'm gonna leave a hole at the bottom. I'm gonna start at the point, leave a hole at the bottom, and I'm gonna leave just the tiniest little hole. That I can. Just enough to turn it in right side out. Okay. So there's this wattle. I'm gonna cut everything out, leave 1/8 of an inch around it. Sorry, I got the hiccups. Okay, on the pattern, that tells you put the comb here, put the beak here, and put the wattle here. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn this right side out. Get my turning tool, push it all the way out. Fold in. There we go. That's my beak. I wonder, do I fold it or anything? I don't think so. I think we leave it on here. I'm gonna base this on 1/8 of an inch. And I put it on the inside so that when we flipped it out, it would be on the outside. Okay. Now I'm going to take its wattle, and I'm going to turn the little wattle through this tiny little hole that I left. I might struggle with this one. Oh no, it's not that hard. Okay. Okay, there's his wattle. I'm going to fold my ends in where my turning hole was. I'm going to fold that in and stitch it closed. Here we go. That's my wattle. Now I'm going to sew that on, baste that on the underside of my chicken neck, chicken beak I mean. There we go. So when he gets turned out, he'll have a little, or however chickens do. Bok, bok, bok. Anyway, now we're going to go to the comb. I'm running my turner along all my seams. Here we go. There's my comb. Wonder, do I need to add him, give him a little bit of oomph like I did the other one, a little bit of dimension? I think I am. So I did the same thing I did with the other chicken. I just accordioning him. Words. I promise I can make words. Okay, I think I'm gonna lay him there. Put his cone at the top of his head and baste him on. So there's our comb, our beak, and our wattle. All right. So let's do our handle. So I have a 4-inch piece of a different color drying mat here. I drew a line down the middle, and I'm just going to fold these into, I put a piece of double-sided tape to the halfway point. You don't have to use double-sided tape, you can use clips. So there's that side. This is going to be thick, but it's foam, so when you sew it, it should press itself down. There we go. And then one more time we're going to fold it in half. And that's going to make our 1-inch handle. You could use a piece of strap. You can use fabric if you wanted. You can use pretty much anything you want to. I just wanted to use a piece of this drying mat. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to sew across the short end and go down. I'm sewing 1/8 of an inch. Take your time here. These are thick. If you don't take your time, you will break a needle. And that is not good. I don't know how long I want my handle, so I just cut my piece the length of my mat, my dryer mat. Figure we could adjust the size when we put it on the bag. I'm going to come go down this side, push that end in, there we go, and then come go down this side at 1/8 of an inch. Oh, I missed it right there on the back. That's the only place I missed it, so I'm gonna have to go back and resew that. Hey, you slid out of there. There you go. Good thing you can't see the stitches in this mat because of the nap on it, so I'm just gonna come back on this side. Here we go. Oops. And there's our handle. I think that's a good length. Well, might leave it that size. What do you think? Cute. All right, so we got one more wing to do and then we'll put this baby together. If I said this is 1/2 inch double fold bias tape. Alright, so we're going to do the same thing we did on the other one. Just this is going to be cute. I do kind of wish this one had the ruffle butt. The ruffle tail like the pot holders, but still cute as it can be. I don't know about where you're at, but where we live at, it is hot. I'm talking our thermometer is 103 with a heat index of 111. Hot. With humidity so sticky you can wring it out with a sponge. So if you can imagine, it's hot. There we go. That is cute. Cute, cute, cute. Get my piece of lace. I'm going to do the same thing I did a while ago. I'm gonna top stitch across the top. Top stitch on the 4, that's what it's on. That's good, I caught both sides. I'm gonna do the same trick that I do with the pot holders. I'm gonna lay this on here. line everything else up. And that way you know they're in the same spot, but I did it backwards. I don't think they have to be in the same spot for this because these are pockets on the outside of a bag, so it don't matter. All right, so I'm gonna do around the bottom. I'm gonna make them look the same, so I'm gonna do 1/4 of an inch and then I'm gonna do 1/8 of an inch. So now we're going to put our 2 pieces together. I'm just going to move all my pieces in so that I don't catch any of them in my 1/4 of an inch that I'm going to sew. So I'm going to sew all the way down the side. Be better to show you on the pattern. I'm going to sew all the way down the side of the head, around the head, and the back of the neck. There's a mark right there on the pattern, right there. I'm going to stop sewing. Then I'm going to come over here to the mark on this side and sew all the way down this side, leaving the bottom and in between here open. So I'm going to put this on here so I can make my marks. I'm going to put a clip where I need to start and stop. And this one is right here. Okay, so that's what I got. I'm going to sew up this side and around to the back of the neck here. Leave this open. Pick up here and go all the way around to the bottom. I'm going to do a 2.5. and a 1/4 inch seam. Back stitching well at the beginning and the end. Go slow, this is thick. Okay, and I'm going to pick up here. If you stop, put your needle down. Okay, so the pattern doesn't give you a bottom piece on this. What it says is to take your bag, open it up like this, draw around your bottom piece, cut it out, and then that'll be your bottom piece. So I'm gonna go cut mine out and I might measure it and see if I can't tell y'all about how big it is. I guess they would all be the same size. I don't know. I'm going to mark my centers though, so I'm going to fold it in half. Put a little mark there. And a little mark here. I'm going to go try. I'll be right back. Alright, so what I got was kind of a leaf with 2 points on the end, or teardrop or whatever, so I'm going to try to clip this on and see what it looks like. We're going to go right sides together. I don't know. We'll see. If it don't work, I got a little bit of this mat left. To try again. I wonder if you're going to even be able to tell and see if it's a little wonky or not on the bottom. I don't think you will. But it worked. I guess it's all clipped on there. I'll put a couple more in there and put one here. And one there. So it worked. We're going to go sew it on and see. I think I'm going to sew it like this. So I'm going to chicken up. 1/4 inch, 2.5 stitch length. I think I'm going to stop there and go on the other side of the tail. Make sure there's not a hole. No, that's good. That's not a hole. All right. I think I'm going to do the same thing here. Or should I just keep going around? Before we go any further, let's see what that looks like. I think he's cute. Okay. Let's put some bind on that. I don't think I'm going to turn all them pieces back under. I think I'm just going to... There we go. I'm going to take me a piece of this bias tape. Go around this real quick. And then we just got to go around the top with the bias tape and around, put the handle on, and we'll be done. This was a pretty quick sew. You can do this bias tape however you want to. You can use fold over elastic. I'm gonna get some of this bulk out of here. You can use waterproof canvas. I think I would stick to double fold bias or either fold over elastic. Then would be the two easiest things to use. I'm just clipping this around. I'm going to show you in just a second what I'm doing. This is going to be in the bottom of the bag. This does not have to be perfect. Nobody's going to see this. I'm going to cut a little bit of that bulk out too. Nobody's going to see it. So make it the best you can and go on about your business. Most of the people who want these are going to use these to collect eggs in. So it doesn't matter if the binding in the bottom is a little wonky. I wouldn't think so, but okay, so now let's sew this on. I'm going to do it on a 4 and I'm going to do 1/4 inch. Get up under there. Okay. I'll look at it, make sure I cut it the way around. I kind of missed it here. I'm not going to take it out. I'm just going to sew it down. That's how much nobody's going to see the inside of your bag. And that's what we got. So let's turn her inside out, right side out. Pull everything out. Now you know me, I'm probably going to top stitch this, but if you don't want to, you don't have to. I like the way top stitching looks. Okay, so now we're going to do binding around our top piece here. Now this piece people will see. Still don't know that it has to be perfect or not, but you want it to be pretty. Let's do the join in the bottom by the tail so nobody can see it. This one you're only doing one layer of the dryer mat, so it's a little easier. Woo! So I got my bias tape pinned or clipped all the way around here. And now I'm just going to sew this on. As best I can. Okay, that's super cute. Now let's put our handle on. On the pattern, there is a mark for your handle right here. I'm going to kind of line it up. Oops. What you think? Let's sew it on. I think I'm gonna do let's sew it and put a rivet on it. I think that's what I want, the look I'm going for. So I'm just going to trace back over the same stitches that I just did. And then I'm going to go so I can fill it up under here. So I'm just going to sew a little box here, go down, pivot across, and then come back up. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, like a whole jabble mess. Let's just see what we can do about that. Okay, that's better. Still think I'm gonna put a rivet there. So let's line these back up. I don't think I'm gonna make the box on this side. I think I'm just gonna sew across the same line as I did a while ago when I sewed my bias tape on. I might go back and forth 2 or 3 times. Yeah, that looks better. So what I'm gonna do is, oops, I'm gonna put a rivet here just to double enforce it. But that's it, guys. That's the chicken. I think his cone needs a little bit more structure, so if I was doing it again, which I probably will, probably do some fusible fleece or something in the cone just so he stands up a little better. But that's it. We got a pocket here and a pocket here. How cutie patootie is that? All right, guys. Love you. Bye.